quick, short live today. As you know, lives aren't exactly my forte. It is the last day of Shooting Sports Month, and I can take this damn thing off finally. Um, so as far as the code talkers go, this one, man, I really enjoy doing all the research and reading up on this. With the code talkers during World War II, interesting enough. Now, most people automatically associate it being Navajo. Now, the majority of them were, however, not all of them were Navajo. And like with the Lakota Sioux tribes, they actually had to sign non-disclosure agreements once World War II was over because they intended on using them for future conflicts if they needed to do so. Um, some of the information that I've put out, I haven't put out the last few videos yet. Closer towards the end of World War II. One of them that's fun though and kind of interesting is there's a Japanese military, kind of like a spy, somebody to do with their intelligence and their military or whatnot. And he could not, for the life of him, figure out what languages were being spoken over those radio waves when they were intercepting them. Up until, I don't know, I think it was like the 1980s, 40 plus years later. Finally, somebody, once the whole code talkers and arrangements or whatnot was released, he was finally able to find out that, oh, okay, it was a language that really wasn't a written language. But like with the Lakota, what's interesting, there's four of them. If you'd been watching the videos, you have Clarence Wolfguts. He was, he'd gone through basic with the Army, gone through a few different trainings. He said that he was in Ranger School, and that's when he was approached. And basically what had happened is Major General Mueller had asked him if Mueller, by the way, had never met anybody that was indigenous before. Asked him, hey, are you Indian? Poured him a glass of whiskey. He says, yeah. He said, all right, well, right now you can disregard, salutes, rank, everything like that, and we can just talk like men. Then he said, do you speak Indian? And of course, Clarence is like, well, I speak Lakota. I speak my native tongue. My grandfather taught me it. Then the guy, of course, well, do you speak, does anybody else here that you know of that's in the Army speak Lakota? He said, yeah, my cousin Ivor, who's also here on base with us. And, at that point, he said, and he can read and speak it as well. He said, yeah, we both can. And of course, Major General Mueller at the time said, boy, I hit the jackpot. And he had made them, they had actually found one of them, I believe, was White Bear and Benjamin White Bear, and the other was Paul Bad Hand. And I could be incorrect on the names on those. I'll have to go back to it. But, so there was the four of them. They were with the 81st Division, the Army unit that was out in the Pacific. What's even more interesting about that is if you guys had caught any of my other videos with people from South Dakota, you have the Medal of Honor recipient Woodrow Keeble, who was in the military in the Army. He was in the 81st. And he had actually gotten sent out to the Pacific, fought in the Battle of Pulaski on those islands right out in that area. And so what's funny is you've got these guys who are doing all the communications, whether it be for supply lines, meeting up with the Marine Corps, Chesty, all of them were all around this area at that time, in the same area during the conflict. And you've got the Navajo talkers or whatnot, but then you had these Lakotas, and just randomly, they all end up being in the same place at the same time in World War II. Now Woodrow Keeble, he was part of the Sisseton-Wahpeton tribe, which is, it's going to be further over on the eastern side of the state, kind of further up north, and it actually goes from South Dakota up into North Dakota, up in the reservation in that area. But, it's just neat to think that coincidentally, this huge conflict with multiple people drafted and enlisted, these guys that come from these very, very small, communities, or Sioux Nation in this case, we're all in the same places at the same time, and that stuff's interesting to me. I'm kind of a nerd when it comes down to it. But, and like, as far as the code talkers, there's not a ton of combat story that comes with it, but it's the logistics and everything like that they made it possible, that I find really neat. It's I don't know. It's pretty unique. It's something, you know, that a lot of pride, and I hope these tribes, and I'm glad that they do take a lot of pride in what these men accomplished, because it's a lot bigger than you know, just flat out warriors, boots on the ground. But and you know, the uniqueness behind it, because it was, you know, a skill that only 4 guys had that were out in that area. So you know, I don't know. It's exciting to me. I enjoy reading about it. You know, like the Navajo code talkers and everything along that line. It's all pretty cool. I can't wait to finish wrapping this one up for you guys. But so there's that. Again, Shooting Sports Month is just about over. And then there has been an increase in Pogs on the internet talking bad about veterans that earn combat action ribbons and whatnot. There's this douchebag named Trench Grenade who had said, anybody that gets a combat action ribbon, that is like getting a participation trophy. Mind you, this dude's a Pogue who never served in combat, never had a combat deployment, anything along that line. So, you know, I'm just going to call bullshit on that right now. Although I think he's already been drugged pretty bad as it is, because Nate with Valhalla VFT and, you know, in the veterans community already put him in his place pretty bad, as well as Focus Trip over in the gun community. So, I mean, like this dude and like this guy, you know, here's the thing. I felt bad for him at first. I didn't know about the whole combat action ribbon thing until later on seeing that. But I just told this dude, I was like, look, man, seems like you've got a lot to prove to people. You're trying to one up and make something out of yourself, and you're going and you're attacking people whom you have no idea what you're talking about. Maybe you should finish your career in the military before you get on YouTube, start making videos and making claims, and you know, making, you know, talking shit on people that get combat action ribbons and things like that. That's a big deal. And you know, then I apparently, and I don't, as far as the gun community goes, you have your shooting competitions and different grades, things like that. And this dude, you know, he's making up stuff about his scores. Well, that's easy to call out. I mean, all you have to do is pull it up. It's all public record right online there. But you know, the guy, his channel wasn't that bad until he started trying to talk smack on combat vets. I didn't seem to mind watching a lot of his stuff until I heard that, and then I had some big problems with that. But anyways, aside from that, guys, not really a whole lot going on here. You know, being the last day of August, Shooting Sports Month, the weather's complete crap. I've felt like crap the entire week. I've been a little sick, bug going around my house. That's really about all I got going. I've got a few more funny videos I'll post tonight, and just some old classic ones from when I first started my channel that, I mean, they're just so god awful. Just terrible. But we can all laugh at them. I think that'll be kind of a fun thing for everybody. But you guys take care. Enjoy your weekend. Happy Labor Day for people on Monday.